Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Cast Pending. Today's topic time travel. Get ready for the theories, because they're going to be flying. Today we have Don
Hello.
and Marcus Aurelius.
Hello. You remind me from remember me from such podcasts as retail stories.
Anyways, right, lads. Time travel. I have three kind of like standalone theories that I absolutely love. I love these in film, I love these in story, I love these in books, and just the whole idea of these theories are amazing. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one we have on the list here is a fixed timeline, which basically states that nothing that you do will alter the future or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So a fixed timeline. In a fixed timeline, even when parties travel back in time, the future they left cannot be changed. All events remain as fixed points in time. The actions of the traveler in the past have already become part of history. This is known as the Nivikov self-consistency principle.
It's a mouthful.
Sorry?
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, I'm telling you. For example, say you travel back in time in order to kill Adolf Hitler as a baby.
Yeah.
In order to prevent World War II, fine, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You replace him with an orphan baby so that the family will not notice grand happy days. You travel back to the future and the replaced baby grows up to become Adolf Hitler, as seen in Terminator, Harry Potter 3, and the 12 Monkeys.
Terminator, very good movie.
So the idea of the fixed timeline is no matter what you do to change it in the past, said events will always come to pass, and said names utilized in that point of time will come to pass. Even if you switch out a person, even if you kill a person, someone else will be there to take their place.
So basically, it's like a river that you can never change the flow of.
Exactly. Now, do you agree with this theory?
I don't think I do.
I don't think so. No.
Right. What do you see a flaw with that?
Well, I believe that we can alter things.
Yeah.
I believe if we could travel in time, that what we did would have an effect, a butterfly effect on the future.
Okay.
They might be drastic changes. They might be not so drastic changes, depending on what it is you're changing.
Yeah.
But let's hear the other two of your theories before I decide which one I like best.
That's fair.
Well,
Mark?
like, obviously, everyone's seen the Simpsons episode where Homer goes back in time with the toaster.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so like, and he steps. Yeah, I just
I have not.
there's always like, even with the Hitler, like, let's say you kill, let's say, Adolf as a baby, and another one comes up. Like, every person is different. Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, it might alter a little bit, but every little alter will create, like, something that's done 50 years ago nowadays could be like, oh my god, the tiniest little thing could be like,
You're referring to the
change.
butterfly effect.
Yes, basically.
While that's true, every person is different.
Yeah.
We don't know for certain that taking another baby and replacing Hitler with another baby, that baby growing up in the same environment, the same life, having everything happen to him the same as Hitler, wouldn't then turn out to be Hitler.
Yeah,
This
it could
is
be.
true.
Everyone is
there was
different.
obviously
That's the whole.
There was obviously something in Hitler's life that happened to him, or he had some sort of vision or something that made him believe that he was the Aryan race, the master race.
Which the irony was, he didn't even match what would be the Aryan race. He wasn't tall. He wasn't. No, but
yeah.
Besides the point, that's a topic for
by the
later.
Or another podcast.
Yeah, right. So the second theory, we live in a dynamic timeline. In a dynamic timeline, altered events in the past have definitive impacts on the present. For example, if you travel back in time and kill your grandfather, you also prevent your own birth, and your eventual trip back in time, in turn, your grandfather is never killed, and you are born again only to go back in time to kill your grandfather anyway.
And
This,
that is a paradox.
yes, and this loop
Mm.
is an infinite loop. It creates
Mhm.
a paradox, as seen in Back to the Future.
Very good movie again.
Brilliant movie. Brilliant movie.
Great music as well.
So, that one is a time loop paradox where you can travel back in time, kill your own grandfather. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you did.
Mm.
You weren't born, so you couldn't have traveled back to do that. So it just continues.
Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting theory. Again, this one is more plausible because time loops are like a possibility. Like it's the same as like putting on a computer on infinite loop. The
Yeah.
idea is that you are the cause. No, you are the effect followed then by the cause, and this just continues in a circle. So, for instance, you travel back, you can win, I don't know, NASCAR racing or something. You go back, you win it by taking out the other driver, but the other driver was,
Your grandfather.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what this is? That's the grandfather paradox. There is other ways to represent that loop. I can't think of it. It's out of my head. It's too late at night.
Your father.
Well, no, that's another thing. Like it could be your grandfather, your father. If you went back far enough and you killed an ancestor that in turn was like, I don't know, your great 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 grandfather, twice removed, and you kill them, you're not going to exist anyway. So technically, your time travel would never have happened. You've never done it.
No.
Mm.
No.
Right. So that's a paradox. There are obviously other forms of paradox.
There are many paradoxes.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember them all.
Well, there's a few of them, but another example of paradox is statement: if you travel back in time, you're not meant to meet yourself.
Yeah.
Because
it would cause madness.
Yeah, well, there's two ideas. You're literally talking to yourself. The human brain wouldn't be capable of understanding this concept, so you would literally just snap. The other theory is that the universe would simply just cease one of you from existing because, like, two of you, the exact same moment of time, reality itself wouldn't function. Not if you both notice each other. One of you just have a fucking aneurysm.
Yeah. See, it's hard. There's the theory that if you were able to build a time machine, you wouldn't be able to go back past the point it was created.
Yeah, I did. I'd have heard this. Yeah.
So you'd be just going forward then.
You can travel if you build a time machine. The idea is you can only go from the moment it was built, the moment it was turned on. So if I built one and I turned it on, from that moment, that millisecond that the power turned that system on, that's when I can travel back to. So I can travel so far into the future, knowing, like, say the lifespan of the battery was like 2,000 years. I could travel 2,000 years into the future. But if the battery died, you'd have no way back.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you manage to get there and then come back, you can only come back to the moment that you left.
Yeah.
I have another interesting theory that will come into this now. I have a question for you now. I have this, right?
Oh.
The multiverse theory, the concept of a multiverse supports alternate timelines.
Yeah.
In an infinite number of parallel universes, Traveling into the past causes a new divergent timeline from the first. Because of this, the traveler can do anything with impunity, and only the new timeline will be affected. For example, if you travel back in time and kill all of your grandparents, jeez, these are just dark theories, you know that?
Honestly, poor
They
granny
all
and
revolve
grandads. Like,
around
granny and
killing.
grandads are lovely.
Fucking homicide. Nothing happens. There is no paradox. You have simply created a new timeline in which you will not exist, but the original timeline is unaffected. However, you cannot return to the original timeline, as seen in the Terminator 2 and 3, Misfits,
Judgment
and
Day.
Star Trek 2009, the JJ verse.
And Sliders, the TV show.
Sliders.
And also CW's Flash, if you've seen that.
Also true.
That's right, yeah. 100%.
Now, this was also, they've also made an alteration here. That was also actually shown in Back to the Future when old Biff traveled back and gave the almanac to young Biff, and he created
Yes.
a new future dark timeline.
Oh my god, yeah. Mind blown on cast pending, folks.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
So those are the three current high point theories going around the world for temporal mechanics.
I saw something. It was a quote in an article from a physicist called Michio Kaku. He's quite famous, quite good in his field. And what he said was that we have the knowledge for time travel already. We just don't have the technology.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, well, the way that Albert Einstein posed it is that time exists through gravity. So technically, by altering gravity, you control time, which it is. It's legit. Like, think about this. We experience time from 24-hour clock, whatever. But we only experience it from rotating around the sun, and the sun rotates in a gravity well. The gravity well is what holds the Earth at its certain point while rotating around at speed of the sun. So with gravity creating time, which we can, focus upon. But there is a theory that time itself is separate in the dimensional gateway. So you have, one dimension, 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension, 4 dimension, 5 dimension. There's a theory that time and space are two separate dimensions. This was actually first advertised in that film Interstellar.
Oh, do you know what? I was only watching that the other night.
Brilliant film, but very good. Basically, time is the 4th dimension, and space is actually the 5th dimension. And so, yeah, we do understand how time works, but to actually travel through it is impossible with current technologies.
Currently, there is only one way, if you can call it that, to time travel, and you wouldn't even be able to control the amount of time you traveled. And when I say travel, you don't really travel. What it is you probably know about this. If you were in a spacecraft, a spaceship, a space shuttle, whatever you want to call it, you get near to a black hole. The nearer you get, the more time slows down for you.
Yes. There's actually, there's that one. It was it's like when traveling towards the speed of light. The issue with traveling towards the speed of light is that mass increases.
Yes.
So
and
the idea.
Closer to.
Sorry, go on.
Go on.
One he is.
Well, I think it's when you get to the speed of light, your mass is infinite, isn't it?
Yeah, so the way that Einstein, I think it's Einstein who proposed it, he stated that it was, if you start off at, say, 10% the speed of light, then your mass is 10% larger than what it was.
Yeah.
But if I was on a ship traveling at 10% the speed of light for, say, 20 days, then 20 years would pass on Earth.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I think, what was it? It was 6 weeks on a ship. Nearly 10 years would pass on Earth.
Hmm.
That's traveling at 10% the speed of light.
Yeah.
It's like but the closer you get to the speed of light, obviously, like the whole idea is that you can't reach it. It is a galaxy.
Yeah.
It is
It's
a
impossible.
universal speed limit.
It's a universal law.
Yeah. So the idea is to travel at that speed. Your mass is infinite. You exist in every point of space and every moment of time. But for that to happen, your vessel would occupy the same space and time as the planets, the sun, the galaxies, everything that is made of matter in the universe. And with
Yeah.
that,
It's all connected.
the universe wouldn't exist because the mass of your ship has just literally obliterated everything.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy, and I would love to be able to travel, to be able to time travel.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
if I could have any superpower, that would be it.
And here's the question for you: would you travel to the past or to the future?
I've,
There's a have to do it.
I've given this a lot of thought, and I would probably travel to the past because I know what to expect. If I travel to the future, I'm a curious person, so I would probably travel 1,000 years in the future or something like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that might be not a great idea. I might get 1,000 years into the future and find that the Earth is on fucking fire.
Yeah, and then
what do I do?
you're burning alive, and you're like,
Yeah,
Here's an interesting one for you, right? Here's an interesting one, based on what Mark was asking there, right? So let's say that we live in a timeline based on the multiverse, right? It's not based on dynamics. It's not based on a fixed point. It is the multiverse one. You can travel back in time. You can see something. As long as you don't actually do anything to like agitate the timeline, your future timeline won't change, which is fine. You can travel back to it. You go back in time and I don't know, you 1960, you stand in front of someone, you take a picture with your digital touchscreen phone now. You travel back to the future, but you were capable of traveling back to the same, your future. Obviously, it's going to be different. So you'll be in an alternate timeline because someone has just found a photo of you holding a smartphone in front of someone, say, digging up fucking Giza.
So, is this
the butterfly effect? You do something tiny in the past, it makes a major differential in the future. It changes the entire timeline. You travel back in time, you kick yourself in the nuts. In the future, you can't have kids. Example.
Ouch.
You travel back in time. You I don't know, paint the wall in the house that your parents are moving into blue instead of green.
Yes.
And then when you grow up, your favorite color isn't green, your favorite color is blue. You don't remember this. But you'd have two memories in your head. You'd have your original timeline and you'd have the one you've remastered. That could also be like a psychosis. You could actually go fucking crazy from that.
I'm gonna say, yeah.
If you have a memory that you don't remember having happened, but you have a memory of it anyway, that's enough to cause a person to go mad.
Oh yes, yeah.
I can't keep up with the minute.
Here's another one, right? So let's say again the multiverse, right? You travel to the future. In a fixed point universe, this would be no issue because you could travel to the future. Everything is as it should be.
Yeah, and then you can just travel back with no consequences.
Yeah, exactly, right? you've lived your life, you go to the future, you meet the older you. That's great. Obviously, this physics wouldn't allow that.
Mm-hmm.
If you travel to the future, you're vanishing from that moment of time. You do not exist anymore. You travel from there 6 months into the future. There's missing persons reports. There's, oh, you've gone missing. We don't know where you are, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's panicking. Say if you had a very important role. You were like, I don't know, fucking engineer or something. You were like working on these new giant windmills or whatever it is for energy and solar powered. And you get this one-way trip to the future. You travel to the future to see these amazing machines, but because you were the lead designer and construction worker and whatever, they were never built. Those farms never happened. This spreads wider, you know. You can never go to the future where you were important because that future would have already changed because you weren't there to make the changes.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the butterfly effect, isn't it? You're not even leaving the present changes the future like that.
Yep.
But I mean, which theory do you believe?
I like to believe in the multiverse theory because it allows us, right? So the theory is that every choice that we make creates several other choices. And with that, several other possibilities, several other universes. Like, think about it. Millions of years ago, back before even dinosaurs roamed on the earth, it was a giant ball of just molten magma. What's to say one choice, it never cooled down?
So
you'd never be listening to us right now.
Yeah.
I know, right? They'd never have the experience, the joy of listening to Cast Pending.
I could live in a world without that.
No. I like the multiverse theory. The multiverse theory is very interesting. It's like, basically, if you make a decision, there's a world where you make the opposite decision, and then each of those worlds spawn another two worlds, or another world, and that spawns another two worlds, and it just goes on.
Every decision you do, like right now, I could take a sip of my drink, or I couldn't, and they go in two different ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite one.
And if that's the case, the possibilities of everything are endless, really, aren't they? You know, in another world, we could be talking pizza slices.
This is true.
You could
very
be fucking president of Russia, Simon.
Weird one, but very true.
Here's a good one for you, right? A good one that kind of like, it entails the kind of the butterfly effect, right? In most perfect form, right? No, I'm not talking about the movie Butterfly Effect, which is actually a pretty damn decent movie, but no. In 2013,
great movie options in this podcast.
I'm going to tell you, the genre of film is a romance, right? But it's a science fiction romance. It works like this, right? So the film is called About Time. It came out in 2013. It's 2 hours long, and it stars
Donald Gleason.
Nailed it. Yes.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, beautiful movie. Now, the way it is the men in the family, going back generations, had the capabilities to close their eyes and travel back in time to the younger point in their life.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to give it away. You have to go and watch it because you'll love
spoilers.
You'll love it. But in one section of it, a choice was made. And when he returns to the present, or his present, he found that his son was now a little girl. The events that he went back in time, the events he said or done or changed or whatever, and when he traveled back to the present, had changed drastically something in his life. That alone is a massive, massive visual representation of the butterfly effect, of changing something minute in the past and just...
Well, that's it. Like, you change something, no matter how small, the consequences could be massive.
Mm.
They could be world-ending.
Imagine going back and taking Einstein out of the equation.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Or imagine going back and getting drunk with Isaac Newton and he misses the apple falling on his head.
Yeah. So he misses the apple. He never discovers gravity, or someone else discovers gravity. But at the minute, no one discovers gravity. Say another 100 years go by before this gravity is like, thought about. Go meet Albert Einstein. Remove him from the equation of the atom bomb experiments in America. America doesn't create the nukes. Russia does. Russia didn't have Einstein, but they did get nuclear technology nearly 6 months after America did.
Mm-hmm. They did.
This doesn't blow your mind, nothing will.
But it doesn't matter if you take like that. Even if you take Russia out, someone else would have come up with the atom bomb.
Oh, easily.
Mm.
But like, that's the point. Like, there's loads of shows up there now where they have like, there's an interesting one there that has two kind of timelines there. It's on Prime. It's called The Man in the High Castle.
Yeah, you were telling me about that the other day.
And the way this works, it's on the premise that Nazis won World War II. So like 1/3 or 2/3 of America is conquered by the Nazis and the Japanese conquered the other third. And then there's like one neutral line that goes through America. And that's where the kind of rebellion starts beginning up. Now, I'm only on season 1, but the whole premise of it is the Nazis have a technology that allows them to travel to different universes, to different timelines. And The Man in the High Castle is actually the name of a certain film that everyone is sharing. And they obviously, the Nazis have this high in their priority. They don't want it shared. They don't want people to see this, especially the rebellion. The films are from our universe in 1945 when the war ended, of people coming back, being victorious. The Germany was defeated. Berlin was, captured, so on and so forth. And these were the films of these people in this other world where obviously World War II ended differently. We're like, oh, we need to fight for this. These are real. This isn't like false. We're living a fake, And it does. It inspires an idea. Like, imagine if the Nazis had like time travel technology. Imagine them being able to go back to like 3 years previous to the end of the war and just like, oh, this is going to happen. These are going to do this. That's going to happen. That would have untold.
Oh my God!
They never would have tried to invade Russia.
Yeah,
the whole of Europe, certainly, and maybe even America would be Nazi colonized.
Yeah, and then there's another one there that's on Sky. That actually everything follows the timeline right up until 1969 when the moon landing occurs.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of the US actually landing first, it was Russia.
Oh.
And then it switches from that moment to present day and back again. You're seeing two different time periods, but this is that little change. And then it switches back to modern day, and it's like, this is how bad those changes or how big those changes have caused the modern day. And it's mad. I haven't seen that one yet. It's not out yet, but the trailers are all over the internet.
If you could go back, if you could go back, if you had a time machine, when or where would you go?
It depends. Like, can we do anything there and not cause harm to the future? Is this one of those like fixed point times?
Let's say yes.
Right. So in a fixed point time, where would I go if I could go back in time? I'd love to see the construction of the pyramids.
Oh,
Simon,
that's an interesting answer.
You're talking dirty to me.
There's talking dirty. You were speaking ear, something crazy might hear.
Comment section, help me out, please.
But it's like this, right? Yeah, no. I have a massive fascination with this because there's so many theories surrounding it because nobody fucking knows what's going on. Nobody knows how they were built. Nobody, I mean, people obviously like, yeah, people know theoretically how they were built.
Yeah.
Like mammoths were discovered to be around in the time of the Egyptians. So mammoths were still alive 2,000 years ago. Or wait, no, the pyramids are 5,000 years old. 5,000 years ago.
Yeah. The mammoths are around then.
Right, and apparently they were in Egypt as well. Apparently they were used for, this was a theory, they used mammoths to pull the hulking 300-ton fucking bricks across the desert plains while using wooden logs as wheels. So it would be like, pick it up, bring it over, drop it in front, pop it up, bring it over, drop it in front. A lot of effort if you ask me, but anyway. And apparently they had advanced crane lifting technologies. Like they already knew how to, like, you know, carry weights and do counterweights and all this. And of course, I wouldn't put that past them. Of course, they
I wouldn't put that past them. There are many ancient civilizations that
especially
have that sort of capability.
Yeah. So, but then there's that other theory, that one little, just, you know, what if? You hear so many people going on about like, oh, alien life, this, that, and the other. And like one of the theories of this is like, oh, there was travelers from beyond the stars that came to help them.
And what theory do you lean towards?
I like both. But if I'm honest, I would love the alien one to be real.
I would love the alien one to be real, but the one I lean towards myself is giants. Because if you look at what are they called? The hieroglyphs, the paintings, the drawings of the ancient Egyptians, it's depicting a man carrying 2 blocks on the end of a piece of wood over his shoulder. And it's a large man because this man is stood next to other men. And these men are small and this man is very tall. So that's what one I lean towards personally.
But it's backed up by evidence. There was actually skeleton remains found all across the continent of Europe, where they would stand at approximately between 8 and 12 feet tall.
Even taller than you, Smiles.
And there have been taller ones found. There have been ones found in like the States. I think they found an 18 or 17 feet tall one.
Yeah, that was one. Yeah.
That's crazy. The head was the size of a fucking boulder.
Yeah. Just like, imagine being able to go back. It's like it takes that whole idea, like, you know, David versus Goliath in the Old Testament.
So you'd go back to the pyramids, would you?
I'd love to go back to the pyramids. I'd love to see that. I'd love to like just to even like see if it's the mammoths. Cool. That's epic. I love that idea.
That would be on my list of 5.
Oh, a list of 5.
And my list of 3. It'd be on my list of 3 even more so.
Right, we're going to do a quick list of 3. We got 2 minutes. Let's do this.
Right. Who wants to go first?
Marcus, do you want to
I only have one, and he's all going to laugh.
Go for it.
I want to go to the year 3000. Because I've been to the year 3000. Not much has changed, but cast pending time traveled. And your great granddaughter is pretty fine. Like, why not?
No, why not, man?
Bit of busted, you know.
For sure.
I don't know. Generally, like, I'd want to go to the year 3000. Like, this is just to be the first person to play that song, and everyone be like, "You did it!
Imagine
You're the guy that played that song." Yeah, like you just have on your phone, like, yeah, I am the guy.
Sure, why not?
That's honestly, I wouldn't need any more now. That's the main one.
And what about you, Don?
Right. Okay. I would go back to the day JFK was shot. I would go back to Jesus walking on water.
Definitely. That would be actually a really good one, yes.
And I would probably, that's hard now. See, the last one's hard. I would probably go back to Moses getting the commandments from God.
I like that one. That's good. Those are good. Damn, they're good. They're really good.
I would just like to see if all that was what it was said to be. You know.
Yeah, well, you never know. Like, I stated that, like, yeah, the pyramids be my big one. Um, I'd actually love to go back and see when they took the photo of the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
that's good. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, or the myths of Hercules,
Ooh,
the
ooh,
demigod. Now that would be interesting. That would be very
ooh.
interesting to me.
You're thinking bigger. See,
Mm.
we go back to ancient times. We go back to the fucking gods of Olympus days.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Oh.
that is the end of this episode. We will have to catch up with another one. So we hope you had a good time listening to us. I know we can mouth off sometimes.
Not us.
Speak for yourself.
Okay. So that's it. That's all. Good day, folks.
Thanks for listening.